Hello and happy Halloween! We may be the only idiots that are dressed up here at PHLY today in our Halloween costumes, but I am the man that I've grown to hate, Garrett Stubbs. I had this costume idea before he made those stupid comments heading into the NLCS or heading out to Arizona. And I'm uncreative and very busy these days. So I did not get a chance to reevaluate my Halloween costume. So here I am in the overalls and my Budweiser beer hat. I thought you were a Pokemon, but apparently it's a rabbit. And welcome into the PHLY Phillies podcast.
Yes, Jamie thought that my bunny costume was actually a Pokemon,
Well,
which...
in fairness, I didn't see the ears at first.
I mean, I still don't know what the body would look like as a Pokemon. But either way, what I went with this year is you talk about practical. Yours is repurposing an outfit and an empty box of Budweiser.
Well, I had to go buy,
you don't drink Budweiser, so you had to buy something different.
I don't mind Budweiser, but it's not my typical
go-to.
go-to.
I was going to say, it's a little older now. I feel like not a lot of people drink Budweiser as much anymore. My dad used to drink that way, way back when.
I will say on a hot summer day, a ice-cold Budweiser is very refreshing. But sometimes, Renee, when you drink the Bud, it leads to Bud butt. And you don't want that the next morning. So we'll just move on from that one.
Well, I went with the costume. I'm going to move on for sure. I went with this bunny costume because I'm going in my older age more practical. You know, my younger, I went through phases of like, I used to make my costumes. Then I was going with just these most ridiculous, wild costumes. And now I'm going with costumes that I can use again because I can be this bunny again for Easter. I can wear this around the house. I'm a little confused. It has a zipper around the butt. I don't know what that's about. I don't really understand.
I think we all know what that's about. You don't have
I don't know, actually. I don't.
That's a trap door.
I was putting it on. It's like weird though. It's really odd. It should be a pocket or something. I'd prefer.
I wish
Happy
I had
Halloween
that on some
though,
of,
Christine Eugene.
My daughter's clothes.
Oh, I know. For kids, you definitely need the zipper.
God.
That's what I'm like. I don't understand. I can't do anything with that.
Trap door. But happy Halloween to everybody. Christy and Eugene Krabs, the first here in the chat. Hopefully, it's funny. Halloween, I was into as a kid in a pretty big way. And then like in the college, like post-college, young adult phase, I didn't really care for it at all up until into my 30s. But now that I've had kids and I get to kind of view the world through their eyes again, Halloween is back like being incredibly awesome for me. I'm really looking forward to tonight. We get the wagon out full of beers and wine. We team up. A good friend and his kids are coming over, my cousin and his kids, and we walk the neighborhood, and the kids have a blast. I dad tax their candy, and it's become like one of my favorite nights of the year all over again. So it's fun to have it back in my life.
I do like Halloween. I don't like it for the sinister, demonic side. Like I'm not one of those that decorates with all the skulls and dead things.
I'm a big skull guy, yeah.
No, I'm more of the fall pumpkins. It's more happy stuff.
All about
the other reason is, you talk about perspective. I'm very active with my niece and nephew, and my nephew, now that he's at an age, correct, that he's like fully aware, is terrified. So as they're doing trick or treating or trunk or treating, and you're walking through, he's like screaming and crying. He's scared. You don't realize how many scary decorations are out there until you've got a kid that's screaming and crying. So I'm not a huge fan of it either because I actually don't like masks. I'm terrified of masks.
Really?
Oh,
okay.
Yeah, like
I get that. That's not irrational.
And it's not a thing of like I don't know who's behind the mask. I can watch you put a mask on, and I will easily pee my pants. So I don't love Halloween for the scary stuff, but I love it for the fun stuff like candy.
Yeah, my wife made the mistake of telling me she also hates the skulls, and
so you went all out.
So I got a couple extras for the front yard. Like
you're one of those.
No, the one that's like crawling out of the ground where it looks like he's like coming out.
Ew.
So I went out. And
I saw a terrifying one in Home Depot that was like 7 feet tall, and it was like moving with like a big black
I've
cloak on, and it was just.
Yeah, our neighborhood kind of goes all out for Halloween, so it's a fun night. Hopefully, everybody out there has a a fun night, and Eugene Krabs said, "I'm going as a sadistic, angry neighbor."
Okay, and Chrissy's a disgruntled Philly sports fan. There you go.
There you go.
Like
That's
it.
what I am now. Instead of Garrett Stubbs, I'm just going to be a drunk, depressed Phillies fan. I guess I can spin it that way.
Yeah,
That's
it
my
works.
costume.
They all
Everybody.
work. It all works.
Yeah.
You can carry the box, and now you're just a drunk fan. That's angry. I like it.
This is kind of like closeout week on the 2023 season. If you didn't catch yesterday's show, we're going to grade each individual group as we close out the year, and then maybe next week we turn the page and look forward to the off season, but it's still kind of lick your wounds times.
Yeah.
The World Series last night, I watched it. We'll talk about that a little bit later. Umpires, of course, have to make themselves a top headline in baseball, per usual. But if you missed yesterday's conversation, Renee, I thought it would be a good time to bring back the cult classic cap or no cap, as the kids say, in regards to our pitchers. Because as I sat down to do our infielder grades, which we're going to get to today, and there's a lot of them, I was thinking about yesterday, and I was like, all right, now we can put a bow on the starting pitcher grades we gave out. Now that the grades are in and you have, Christmas break or the summer to get better for next year, do we think or expect these people will be better or kind of worse than they gave us last year? So the grades were in yesterday. If you missed it, they're all posted on our YouTube page. We tweeted out our grades from the show page. And if you're in here, hit that like button. Give us a follow on social media accounts. So we'll start with cap or no cap, Renee, and Zach Wheeler.
So, do you remember the definition of cap or no cap? Are we still good on that? Do we need to redefine it for you guys listening? Yes. Okay. So
you capping, you lying.
Yes, capping is lying. No cap is no lie.
I'm hip. I'm cool.
You're so cool.
And
I don't remember my grades.
It's a holiday. I'm just gonna crack a drink here
At 12:30, right? Why not?
It's lunchtime. It's a holiday.
It's 5:30
It's
somewhere.
like international waters.
And you could be like, Christy, I love your setup. This is something you could take you probably do something similar with having everybody gather around the fire pit in the driveway, blasting music, having the cooler beer.
So
You're getting started early.
Yeah. No rules. Happy holiday. This is a delicious smooth tea, iced tea and vodka. So it's basically like a non-alcoholic drink.
Oh, it's like juice.
Yeah, it's basically an adult juice. I can't wait to be where Christy's at with the fire pit, but I'm still in the phase of having to walk him around.
Yeah.
So I don't have that option yet, but that does sound awesome because I fully intend on fire pit, table candy, music.
Definitely a sweet setup.
Here's a cooler beer so the adults, if you need
all
something.
All the kids gather from the neighborhood. Oh, yeah. So definitely a sweet setup.
In time I will be there.
Let's get back to Wheeler. So better
cap
next
or
year?
No cap? Better next year.
Like, I'm going to say Zach Wheeler is going to be better next year. No cap.
My old wash brain has to process this now. Better than
processing
last year, no cap. Is that what you said?
Zach Wheeler will be better next year.
He will be. So no cap.
No cap. No, Jamie.
So that means
I'm saying he is going to be better next year.
No cap.
No cap.
No lies.
No lies.
Okay, I got there. Took me a minute.
Well, give me that drink.
This is like Greek to me, so I'm trying my best here.
Thank you, Tyreek Bailey. Welcome in. Yes, still bitter, but we're not bitter. We're getting better. Yeah, no cap, Neil. Neil got it.
All right.
So we're playing cap or no cap just to process because I'm going to give you an extra second to remind yourself.
I need the head translation period.
We're playing cap or no cap. Looking at our starting pitcher grades that we gave yesterday to quickly run through them before we move on into the infield and talk through if we think that guys are going to be better next year.
No capping with Zach Wheeler.
I said Zach Wheeler is going to be better next year. No cap.
All right, Tyler, do you agree with the no cap grade from Renee?
Yes, I do. I think that he is going to be better next year because of the fact that it's a contract year. And I will add this, which this is the negative side of things.
Uh-oh, you going to be capping here?
I think next year is Zach Wheeler's last ace dominant season.
So what is he like?
And then he becomes
31, 32 now.
He's 30.
He's 31, isn't he?
Yeah,
I think he's right around that.
I feel like we're the same age.
Oh.
That's how I always remember based on like my own age.
Who can do
and
33?
Oh, he's 33.
And by the way, I don't
you might be right
I
there.
don't mean that to say that he's going to stink all of a sudden.
33 is he's getting up there.
Regression
in
to
baseball
like
years.
a high 2, low 1 as opposed to being an ace.
Okay, so I will agree with the no cap on Zach Wheeler. I think he's going to be better. No cap.
All right, we're moving along to Aaron Nola. Now, for Nola, we're going to go Aaron Nola, if he's here next year.
Yes.
Will it be better than this past year? I think so, too. No cap. I think Aaron Nola will be here.
No cap.
But
Totally. This is a tough one.
I'm going to, unfortunately, have to err on the side of Aaron Nola is not going to. Aaron Nola is going to be better next year, and I'm capping on that one. He will not be better next year, a.k.a. Jamie. That's what I'm saying. I just think that Aaron Nola's another one. As we talk about,
because he wasn't up to his normal par this year.
So there's two ways this can go.
So
Is it Aaron Nola had an off year, or was this the start, as we were talking about with Zach Tyler, of Aaron Nola's decline? Now, he's only 30 years old, but Aaron Nola has a lot of
innings on that arm. Yeah.
Oh, Jinx.
Look at
wow.
us. Buy me a Coke.
There's a lot of innings, a lot of mileage on the tank. So for Aaron Nola, 5 seasons of 200 or more strikeouts, a lot of innings he's pitched, one of the highest for pitchers and how many starts he's had. It's going down. Basement, Friday the 13th. Guess who's playing? Jason. Aaron Nola. You don't know that at all.
I'm going to go before we get Tyler's cap or no cap. I'm going to say...
It's not over your head. It's fine.
It was a line from a rap song, and it was Jason. It was a really good Halloween tie-in by you, Renee.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's what I'm going with.
Yeah.
You know, I try to keep my cultural references on par with the topics.
That was impressive. I'm still trying to translate cap or no cap and how I want to say this in the most nerdy way possible because I think he's going to be better than he was this year. So I'm going to say no cap. Tyler?
Agree with you, Jamie. I think statistically speaking, it was a rough year for him. +4 ERA. The 32 home runs, I don't think repeats itself.
That's why I think it gets better. I think they'll figure that out.
I think that do I expect 3.2? Probably not.
No.
But like
3.6,
like Neil said,
3.7.
he was 4.46 last year. If he can get down to 3.6, 3.7, does that mean he's a Philly? I don't know.
I think he will.
I think he will be. But as of right now, I'm going to say he will be better.
The reason I think he will be is because moving sucks. Starting in a new system sucks, and he seems like a creature of habit that likes it here, wants to see the winning ways here. He's probably pretty close to a lot of guys on the team. So I just think it's easy. Like if the money's the same, now if somebody comes and gives $35 extra million, he's probably gone. But I think the Phillies will be competitive with the market value, so I think he's just going to stay because it's easy.
Yeah, and Trevor Rice is saying, isn't Nolan every other year guy? This was his down year. Next year will be better. Neil saying that 4.46 ERA for Nolan 2023. He's also thinking he's going to be better. I agree with you. Dustin, we're talking about Wawa on here. That actually sounds delicious for lunch. That's
Wawa
a great
Junior
steal.
Hoagie and medium
Absolutely
size.
A good steal.
$6.50 in this economy.
$6.50 to get a Wawa Junior Hoagie and a medium side. We're not doing ad reads for Wawa, but hey, they can get it too if they're going to have deals like this.
I mean,
but Eugene Krabs is saying need Wheeler to be like Verlander. That's okay.
Well, then he's got to find
we'll
Katie
see.
Upton and the youth fountain because what's Verlander now? 41.
Kate Upton.
Yeah, he's just going to need to, pitch for another 9 seasons.
Yeah, that's all.
Verlander's a freak, man.
That's all.
I don't know.
Go to the Hall of Fame when his career's over.
Oh man,
tough task.
That it is. So let's go to your cutie, Ranger Suarez. I'm gonna let you go first.
In this economy, Dustin says, yes. In this economy, it exists. So Ranger was slightly down, I think, because of the injury mostly this year in terms of getting back to form and all that. I'm gonna say cap that he's better next year. That's your capping if you think he's gonna be better.
So you think he's going to be worse?
I think he's going to be slightly worse, yeah.
Oh. Well, I was actually going to go with the same thing. Then I feel like...
look at us capping.
But no, I was going to go no cap,
fools.
actually.
Oh, okay.
Just capping fools. That's not...
Is that how you do it?
It just sounds, no. I was going to say, because Ranger did have an injury-plagued start to the season and working back in, didn't get a full regular season under his belt, I think Ranger is going to be better with a nice, full, healthy offseason, good, strong spring training, come right in and have a steady season.
So you're going
and the postseason, to me, was a little bit more of what I'm expecting for Ranger Suarez moving forward. I think he had some dips because of injuries and then the hangover games, but I think Ranger's going to be a little bit better next year. No cap. So we're not capping.
Neil Dever in the chat agrees with you. He says slightly better because I think his 1.141 whip was a little rough, and I agree with you. That was rough. So
and he had to be rushed back a little bit more than we would have liked.
Fair. I think your no cap is fair. I'm just going out on a limb a little bit and saying cap. Tyler, what do you got?
Yeah, no cap. I think, Renee, you're right. The injury, they rushed him back from the injury because they needed him, because Matt Strahm was starting and they were worrying about how many innings that they were going to need to eat. The 1.41 whip that Neil brings up, I think, is in part
go down.
Like these things snowball, right? It goes from rush back from injury. You could tell the command wasn't there in his first probably 8 or 9 starts. He started to figure it out a little bit. I think Ranger has a much better statistical season next year.
So 2 caps, or excuse me, 1 cap, 2 no caps. I'm alone on Cap Island here. Christopher Sanchez, cap or no cap? We'll start with Tyler this time. That he's better than he was this year.
That's cap. I think he's going to take a small step backwards. Everything that you got from Christopher Sanchez was fantastic this season, and I think that there's the makings of a guy who can be a major league pitcher for a really long time. The issue with a guy like Christopher Sanchez is he doesn't throw overly hard, and he doesn't have anything that's wipeout. His changeup's probably his best pitch. Eventually lefties are going to figure to sit on it, and righties, you could tell his numbers were really not good against right-handed hitters this past season. I think he takes a small step backwards next year. He's probably closer to 4 than he was this season.
Tyler's cap. Renee, what are you?
I actually think Christopher Sanchez will be slightly, I like that term slightly, Neil, slightly better next season, no cap. I just feel like Sanchez, especially with the way that his final showing, when you get pulled quickly after a few innings, especially after having a few weeks of not playing, probably not the way he wants to end the season. I mean, nobody ever wanted to end the season, period, but not the performance you want to end the season. I think Sanchez has a little bit more in the tank. I feel like we saw in glimpses of it, and I would love to see a little bit more. I think it's just going to be a little bit more consistently Christopher Sanchez. So I'm going to go slightly better next year. I know, Neil, you're saying you're disagreeing. You think it's going to be slightly worse. Second time around for hitters, seeing Sanchez will cause some regression. Okay, could see that. But I'm going to go slightly better.
Okay. I am going to join Tyler on the cap side of things. He was so good this year. I think teams will have a book out on him more, an offseason to have scouting reports on him, all that crap. And, sophomore year is kind of like the toughest.
A sophomore slump is what you're predicting?
Yeah, just a little bit, because I think it's natural. I would almost give... He exceeded every expectation I had this year, so I think if he was to no cap, as you say, then we're looking at a top 2 or 3 starter, because for him to improve on that, I think is going to be difficult. So because of that, I'm going to go cap.
I feel like you're using it slightly incorrectly, but it's okay.
Cap. Definitely a cap guy. All right, that's it, because Matt Strahm is going to be back in the bullpen.
You don't want to talk about Taijuan Walker?
Oh, I forgot. I always forget about him now.
Wow.
Maybe all right.
I'll let you start then, since you forget about him. Forget me not.
Walker, Mr. Forgotten. Yeah, because he didn't pitch in the postseason. He wasn't on my brain. I'm going to say he's going to be better next year. So no cap. I think he was bad. Now, I'm not going to judge him in terms of his 15 wins. The Phillies were able to give him run support and beat up on other teams' 4s. I think his numbers personally, meaning whip, Ks per 9, walk rate, all that stuff, is going to slightly improve. So I'm team cap, MBD.
MBDBDBF is saying you're way too Caucasian to play cap or no cap. You're whiter than Bellinis in a snowstorm. You are, I would say, whiter than my bunny costume.
Oh, man.
No, we're teaching you though. We're teaching you. You're coming around. You're gonna be the cool dad. You've got time.
This is gonna be the only instance in my life where I use the terms cap or no cap. So this is what you bring out of me.
I think you're capping right now. I think low key you're gonna be out. Jamie's gonna be out there pulling the wagon, like pass. So do you ever casually dropping?
Like when you say something awkward in public, or it feels awkward to you, or it's unnatural, you kind of get like a record scratch in your head. Like when I say something really awkward, like in a group of people, and I know it's awkward, and I can pick up on awkwardness, I get like the in my head, like don't. Why did you say that? You can't get that back now. It's over. So because of that record scratch internally, I will never use cap or no cap outside of this conversation.
Okay, fair enough. Very nice.
So I believe strongly in that because I feel awkward even saying it.
Yeah, I mean, Eugene Krabs is claiming by the end of the year you're going to have an invite to the cookout. I don't know about that, Jamie. I don't know, but who knows? Maybe I'll work on it, guys. I'm working on it.
I'm a hoot. Extra raisins in the salads, right? I'm kidding.
Oh my God.
See, I'm cool.
No, I just had to walk away.
Not cool at the cookouts. Leave the raisins at home.
I'm sweating a little bit off of that one. My gosh. Yeah, next we're gonna have you rating things. Do you know what mid?
I know what Riz is, MBD.
We have to move on.
No, mid is a term I use because, like, whenever I talked about Kirk Cousins, I was like, he's just a mid quarterback. Mid's not. Mid goes back to the early weed days. Come on, it's not
early weed days.
Yeah, when there were seeds and stems all over that stuff. Mercy. Now it's all scientifically engineered to rock your world. So yeah,
you could have just left it at I've used mid, and that would have been fine.
Well, I had to explain it because
I don't know that you did.
I didn't want to be capping, Renee.
See, you're getting better. That was natural. That was smooth.
Yeah, but I still felt weird saying it.
You just have to, yeah.
All right,
just lean into it.
Let's get it back.
Let's
get it back.
Let's walk it back. Let's walk it back. I think Walker's going to be better next year, Cap. I mean, honestly, unfortunately,
right,
I love the motivation, the whole tweet of like disrespect, seeing him back in the gym. He's obviously not happy to get a single inning in the postseason. But unfortunately, you talk about the book being out on a pitcher. The book's out on Taijuan Walker, and his stats, that ERA being over 7 for first innings is terrifying and
bad.
Hard to recover from. So I'm saying he's going to be better next year.
All right,
Cap.
Tyler, 2 for 2 over here with Cap.
Next.
Cap as well.
Thank
We're
you.
3 for 3.
Next.
He's
you hate Taijuan Walker.
I can't stand him.
Hate is a strong word.
One of two things are going to happen.
Sports hate.
One of two things are going to happen with Taijuan Walker next year. He's either going to pitch better, or he's going to find himself in a salary dump trade where the Phillies are going to end up having to give up a prospect to make a move that's kind of lateral, if not backwards, because I don't think the Phillies are going to want him on their roster for another 2 seasons at the $20 million or $18 million or whatever it is over the course of the final 2 years of his deal. So one of two things happen is he either pitches better or he's not a Philly come October.
Yeah. Christy in the chat was wondering how old, Taijuan Walker is. He is 31 years of age.
30 fun. The great age.
Yes.
1831.
And his birthday is August, so he will be 32 at the end of next year.
Correct. So I agree with you.
Well, if Taijuan Walker wants to enjoy his offseason, maybe he can spend some of that money he stole from the Phillies using the Soul Savvy app because he looks like he'd be a sneakerhead. A lot of guys are. Download the Drops app. That's Drops. Fans can sign up through links.soulsavvy.com/PHLY or download the Drops app when possible. I always prefer the app over the website. Don't miss out on the biggest sneaker drops and download the Soul Savvy Drops app. The Drops by Soul Savvy app makes it easy to keep up with all the latest news, and the sneaker world is a serious world. This is highly competitive. You want every advantage you can get. So it will give you new releases, raffles, sales, all happening in the sneaker world. It's a one-stop shop for everything sneakers. You get the drop alerts, instant notifications. You'll never miss a release again. You'll get instantly notified whenever your size is available to buy. I was actually just stalking down a pair of Air Pegasuses from 1989, and this app would have helped me at the time. I didn't know about Soul Savvy and the Drops app, and now you do. Free raffle management. Keep track of all the raffles that happen in sneakers with the raffle tracker, and of course, a release calendar. Their accurate release calendar will keep you updated on releases that are coming up. Whether you're a casual sneakerhead like myself or a diehard, Soul Savvy has something for you with 3 different levels: the basic free version, Mobile Plus, or Premium. This Saturday, November 4th. Oh, man, it happens to be my birthday. And I do love myself some Air Jordans.
Your birthday's this Saturday?
Yes, it is. And it's also the release of the Air Jordan 1 Reimagined Royal, which is dropping. The Drops by Soul Savvy will notify you when it's dropping. Download the app and never miss a release. Sign up for Soul Savvy by clicking the links in the description below or by visiting links.soulsavvy.com/PHLY or head over to the App Store and download the Drops by Soul Savvy app. Now, I don't want my wife to hear this ad because, Renee, I kind of awoke a sneaker beast in her. We were hammered one afternoon a long time ago on Bourbon Street in the daylight hours, and we were taking the trolley over to another part of town over on Magazine Street, and at the trolley stop on the corner was a Foot Locker. And, you know, we had our Bloody Marys in hands. We were kid-free, living our best life, and we were like, oh, we're waiting for the trolley. Why don't we go in and look at some sneakers? And she found a pair of Jordans, like all gray, whatever they were. I don't even remember what style or what release number it was. She got them, and it kind of awoke the sneaker beast in her a little bit. And ever since, she's gotten more Jordans, has her eye on some, and if she knows that the Air Jordan 1 Reimagined Royals are dropping on Saturday, I'm afraid our checking account's going to take a hit.
Yeah, your birthday will actually be her birthday. She'll be checking out some and buying some things. What'd you get me, honey?
Yeah.
You?
Oh, I got myself a pair of Jordans.
Oh, you can't fit these Jordans? Oh, it looks like I have to wear them. Yeah. Well, Jamie's going off the rails here. But you're right.
Do you have the sneakerhead in you?
I'm a shoe person.
Okay.
I just love shoes.
Yeah.
Like and clothes. So my closets are full. So yeah, I'm becoming more of a true sneakerhead, but I'm more of a bargain shopper because of the fact that I buy so many shoes.
So
I don't want to spend.
Quantity over quality.
I'm quantity over quality. I mean, they're great quality too, but I'm not going to spend hundreds of bucks on a pair of sneakers if I'm not going to wear them as much as my others. But yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that's MBDBDBF. That's Jamie and Addie.
There are very few that's end well with my wife and I were absolutely hammered.
And that actually was a decent story. That was solid. That was great.
It was the origins of her sneakerhood.
It all started with some Bloody Marys on bourbon. There you go.
New Orleans is a dangerous place.
Well, it is interesting, the sneakerhead concept, but we'll move on from here. Happy early birthday. We'll have to break down on the show and talk about your birthday plans.
No, I'm not one of those people. We don't have to worry about it.
What?
Yeah, it's fine. It's just
have to. You only get one day a year to celebrate you, and life is too short.
I'm going to golf in the morning. I'm going to go out to lunch with my family and the girls, and then at nighttime, I use the Game Time app to buy concert tickets with some buddies. Comedy concert.
You made that so much less exciting. I wanted to do like
I'm really
the whole
excited
thing.
for that day.
I mean, but like it's your birthday. Like we gotta do a whole thing. We're gonna do a countdown the days. We are 4 days away. Technically 5 days away from Jamie's birthday. Woo!
Yeah, 40.
I don't like how people don't like celebrating birthdays or making a big deal out of it because it's a blessing to see another year.
No, it's great. I love it, but I don't need all the hoopla.
Say less. Hoopla.
It's fine.
There won't be any hoopla on the show.
As long as
Don't you worry.
Golf, have a good burger for lunch with my fam, and do something I want. I'm happy as a pig in shit.
Prepare for the hoopla here on PHLY Phillies podcast because I'm making it I'm a very big holiday person, but I'm also.
I get that about you. You and Vince were talking about Hallmark movies you watched this weekend and how many good ones there were.
There's so many good ones.
Yeah, I'll take your word for it.
I love Hallmark movies, but we'll talk about that another day too, because Hallmark movies and wine could really take us off the rails here. The whales.
All right,
Let's talk about the Infield. Yeah, because I'm like a true teacher. I like Hallmark movies and wine just like every other teacher. Let's put on our teacher hats. You're Miss Honey. I'm Miss Nobody.
I still don't get that reference, but I'm gonna go with it, and hopefully it's not.
So Miss Honey and Matilda is a very nice teacher. She ends up actually adopting Matilda.
Oh,
that's how nice she is.
There's a principal that hates kids.
Miss Trunchbull. That's actually Matilda's aunt, weirdly enough, I think.
And she hates Matilda?
Are they related? Yeah, she hates Matilda.
That's kind of messed up.
Yeah, because she doesn't like the Wormwood family. Whole other story.
Yes, that.
So Miss Honey gives out great grades. That is you because you're very nice. So let's see if you're going to be Miss Honey again today. Yeah, because we've got to get into infield grades.
Woo! Infielders.
All right, let's start at the top with our guy, Bryce Harper. Okay, let's start there.
I love you. It's an early grade. I love you. All right, let's start.
I'll let you go first because I feel like you were ready.
No, go ahead.
No.
Sometimes when his name comes up, I just yell out, "I love you," very loudly.
Just go.
Just a little tick I have.
Just take it away.
A+. A+. We'll see what everybody else has. I actually haven't seen your grades. I did get a sneak peek of Tyler's yesterday before the show, but I did not see either of yours today, so I'm curious where you go with this. The fact that he returned as early as he did pretty much got him an A+ for me.
Okay.
He came back. He played a position he's never played before, better than our previous first baseman ever did. I didn't think his power was going to return this year just because it's natural after a surgery. It did. His power resurgence in August and September, along with Trey Turner, really kind of propelled you into one of the giants in baseball. I love you. I love you. A+.
Okay, so I'm a very tough grader. It's in my blood. My mom was a teacher.
Okay.
So apparently I'm just going to act like that makes it important that I give tough grades. But it's hard for me to give out an A+. There's, like I said yesterday with Zach, there's always room for improvement and you're not perfect. But I did give an A, a solid A for Bryce Harper.
What is that? So does that mean 92, like 91 to 95?
No, it's like 93 to 96.
Okay.
So Bryce Harper, the stats for the season, solid. 1 error, 259 total outs, 20 double plays, 20 assists, 45 outfield.
Better than Rhys Hoskins at first base. It's unbelievable.
It is. 45, I believe it was, outfield assist. Did a fantastic job stepping into first base. Obviously, we all remember the days, which feels like it was so long ago at this point, that we saw Bryce warming up before games, before he was officially back, getting back into, the swing of things, and he was on first base, and we were all excited, and I loved what he did at first base. There's just some plays that stick out in my mind where it was typical. You're taking those learning curves, and you are maybe missing, the gloves wrong, you're on the base wrong, you're not getting the out. So there were some plays that I can think back on, especially in the postseason, that I was like, Bryce, you should have had that. So for that only reason, I'm not giving him a perfect score like you are, Miss Honey.
So what are you, Miss Turnbuckle? What's her name?
No, I'm not Miss Trunchbull.
Trunchbull.
I'm not. I'm
sounds like it. Tough. Jeez.
I mean, there were things. There were just. He was better than Rhys, but that's not what the rubric is based off of. The rubric is based off of as a first baser. There's. Like Mickey's saying, there's some small things. Like he needs to let Stott take more ground balls, which will come with experience. There's just things that with experience will get better, which is why there's some slight things that need improvement. But it's overall, he'd have like all E's if this was the kindergarten report card.
Man,
minus like
tough.
1 needs improvement.
All right, Tyler. I imagine you're in our general neighborhood.
Come on now.
Get out of here. You're fired.
And we're fired.
This guy is not a human being.
No, he's
I'm
not.
convinced he's like an autonomous robot.
He's a baseball cyborg.
It's insanity. The fact that not only did he play over 100 games this year, but like you guys mentioned, he played a position that he's never played before.
And well.
Returned from Tommy John on May 2nd, just a ridiculously high pace. He played 2 games in his career at first base, his entirety of his Major League Baseball career, and then just decided, you know what, in the biggest moments and in a stretch run, I'm going to play 36 games at first base just because. The fact that he hit over 20 home runs, drove in 70 runs, hit almost 300, and even with a slugging percentage that's a little bit down for him at .499, it's still just an unbelievably strong season for 126 games. There's nothing in me that prevents me from giving this guy anything but an A+.
Tyler knows grading. A+.
Just because he agrees with you?
Yep. He's a genius.
But we're not talking about his hitting and
all
home runs.
It.
We're talking.
It's all of it. It's the total package.
Wait, are we?
Yeah, it's not just fielding. It's all of it.
Well, he still gets an A.
And let us
still
know,
a solid A.
Yeah. Let us know in the chat how you guys feel about each grade as we kick it off here with Bryce.
Well,
Next.
actually, since we are talking about, and actually, I'm not going to lie, I totally was just talking about infield, but either way, it's still an A for Harper because there were, on the other side of the ball, definitely some things that I would like to see Harper do better. You can be smashing home runs and then have incredible RBIs, but down the stretch, there were some moments that Harper obviously wasn't seeing great pitches, couldn't hit the ball.
Oh, I have a stat on that later that Matt Gill put in his piece about the chase
he's
rate.
An A.
That's fair.
I agree with that.
All right.
I'm going to stick by that.
All right, moving on to his counterpart over at second base there. His fellow Las Vegas boy, his former roommate, which I always thought was like cool, but at the same time weird.
Why is that weird?
That Bryson wants to live with Bryce and his wife and like young baby at the time.
And they weren't that close.
Like, you're making money, man. Go get an apartment in the city. Go have some fun.
Like, I love the fact that Bryce took him under his wing and he looked up to him growing up.
And that's cool,
and like,
but if
everybody wants to be like Bryce. But I think it'd be less weird if it wasn't Bryce and his entire family. Like, if it was just Bryce and he's like, oh, sure, I'll take a roommate. But, like, you're going to move in with Bryce.
So I think the story is
everyone.
Bryce's mom taught. It's either Bryce's mom taught Bryson or Bryson's mom taught Bryce.
Yeah.
So the families have known each other for a little while. So they go way back.
But like, it's still a little odd because you can just live nearby.
Yeah.
And like, let's just hang out more often and grab lunch and stuff and be
live
cool.
in the city and
we
go
don't have to
do your
be
thing.
together.
But anyway, let's get to Bryson Stott's grades. I was this close to giving him an A+.
Wow, Miss Honey.
I mean, when you look at his stats and the fact that he was a Gold Glove defending second baseman who came up as a shortstop is miraculous. He exceeded every expectation I had for him this year. I thought he gave you the best at-bats on the team. I thought he played the best defense on the team. And when you look at his numbers from year to year, the jump he had was unbelievable. He excelled in every area of the game. He rose his batting average by nearly 40 points. His OPS jumped nearly 100 points. His home runs and RBIs rose. This is perhaps the most wild stat for Bryson Stott. His stolen bases nearly tripled, while his caught stolen bases decreased by 1. That is a credit to the coaching staff and also a credit to Bryson Stott. To triple your stolen bases and decrease your amount of times caught stealing is incredible. Really close to an A+ for me. I would give him on the upper side of that A range. So what's that, 95, 96? I think Bryson Stott gets an A. What say you, Renee?
You know.
How hard are you going to be?
In true fashion, I've got to be consistent, okay? I'm that teacher that you have to. I'm not Miss Trunchbull. I am the teacher that you have to just work a little bit harder for a grade for, okay? Gosh. So I was almost Mrs. Castellanos. Not really. Thank you, Mickey, for that reminder. Papa Stott, flawless in a lot of areas, as you talk about. 78 runs, having 15 home runs this season. Looking at the fact, as you talk about, the increases in so many stats. Also on the fielding side, leads the league in a number of categories, top 5 for some areas such as assists, putouts. Was fantastic, definitely.
One of the 3
and he
Gold
better
Glove
win the Gold Glove. I agree with you, Mickey. I'm gonna give him an A- though, because it's the full season, and it's not just the moments we loved Bryson Stott.
That's the only thing that kept him from an A+.
It's also the moments. It's all the moments, especially in the playoff. There was a stretch there. Let's not forget, we were wondering, when is Bryson Stott going to make a hit? When is Bryson Stott going to show up? He did show up finally by the end of the series in the NLCS, but Bryson Stott had a little dip off. There was some drop off there, and I love the fact that Bryson Stott is a Gold Glove contender and all these great stats that you talk about. But part of my rubric for, yes, I'm guessing I'm a negative Nelly over here, is clutchness and performance in big moments as well as consistency. And postseason to me is a clutch moment that you need all your heavy hitters hitting the ball, and Bryson Stott at times was not doing that. So unfortunately, I can't give him an A or an A+. The A- is strictly because come playoff time, there were a couple, and even on the fielding side, some missed passes, some missed plays, as well as some at-bats that just were not good. So it was not ideal.
Tyler.
Thank you. MBD is agreeing with me. The postseason NLDS and NLCS was not ideal. His postseason numbers, and I'll just run through it really quickly before Tyler jumps in here. You look at his 46 at-bats in the postseason. He scored 5 runs. He had 11 hits, 14 strikeouts. Not great. Not great. I mean, he had almost half his strikeouts this. Let me see what I got here. Yeah, not good. It's just not good numbers. So I'm going to go with the fact that the postseason and the most clutch moment, Bryson Stott was not Stotty too hot. He was Stotty kind of warm at times. So Tyler.
What do you say?
He's going to go with you.
You are one of the harshest graders I've ever seen.
It's the whole season.
What did this guy do poorly this year?
The postseason.
Yes, I agree. The postseason was not strong. However, that probably bumps me from an A+ to an A. This guy played a brand new position, moved across the diamond, and all he did was become a Gold Glove finalist. Now, I don't think he's going to win this year, but I do think that he's going to be in consideration for quite some time. A career high in home runs, a 280 average. And like Jamie talked about, that 31 stolen bases, what intrigues me even more than the number, the sheer quantity of stolen bases, is the fact that he was successful on 91% of his attempts.
He decreased his caught stealing. How do you do that?
Incredible, right? So I don't believe he wins the Gold Glove this year, but I do believe he's in contention.
Kim's going to win that.
For probably the next decade in terms of doing that. And I've been saying this all year, and Jamie, you know how many times I say this
you
a
think
week.
He's going to win
He's going to win a batting title at some point. I think the 280 rises to 320 at some point in his career, and with the way that numbers have kind of decreased, 320, unless you're Luis Arraez, is a pretty formidable number to win a batting title. This guy gets an A in my book. I think that he was the first half MVP of the season, and quite frankly, if you were to say, who was the Phillies MVP throughout the course of the year,
I made the case he was.
It's Bryson Stott and it's Zach Wheeler.
Yeah, I think there's a very good case to make that he was the team's MVP this year. Renee continues to be a tough grader. We'll see what she does next with Trey Turner, because Trey Turner was a polarizing figure this year. Let's
Barbara,
just move
we did
right
not
into
do
him.
Sosa yet. By the way, we've only done Bryce Harper and Bryson Stott. We're just rolling through Happy Halloween too as well. Give him an E, not an E for excellent. But yeah, I'm raising the bar here. I'm holding people a little more accountable. I will go first on Trey because Trey Turner. If you think I was a little tough on Bryson and the Vegas boys.
Because I kind of surprised myself with my Trey grade. So I'm curious where you go.
Why did you surprise yourself?
Because I was a little higher than I expected.
Oh, then you're not going to be surprised that I gave him a B-.
Oh, okay. We're relatively in the same area.
Now, Trey Turner also led the league in fielding stats in a number of different categories. He was top 20 for double plays with 60, number 5 in assists with 369, had 176 put outs for number 8. But then, of course, as you talk about the wrong ones, led the league with 23 errors. Yeah, that drops you at least from an A to a B. And then, much like my argument with Bryson, let's remember the NLCS. Let's remember where Trey Turner was. Nowhere to be found at times. Struggled. And for that reason, you are a B-. I mean, you cannot get into the playoffs and be first half of the season MVP and then struggle off Bryson Stott. You cannot be Trey Turner, who makes these incredible spinning double plays and then turn around and have errors or then get at bat.
Oh, he did just that, Renee.
Yeah, and then you go up to bat and the numbers in the postseason this year,
not great
at all. 9 runs, 17 hits, and 49 at bats. The 8 strikeouts, but it was more just we lost Trey Turner at bat. So, Barbara, I'm glad you're a hard grader like me because Jamie over here is a softie.
I thought you were going to go into the C range, to be honest.
I was contemplating a C+.
Well,
but,
I don't think you would have been like that off. I don't think that's off the table.
Well, thank you.
But I expected you to go into that C range because you're
Barbara
tough.
said C+. C+, he's like a solid 80. Like when I say B-, I mean he's an 80. He barely made a B-.
Yes.
Because those errors were terrible timing.
Mickey says C+, B- is the right call.
Yeah.
Now, I fully expected to give him a B-. My gut, I kind of did the gut, and then I looked at the stats to back up if my gut was right. So I fully expected to give him a B-. I actually gave him a B. And that might be a little generous, but when I looked at his stats compared to the rest of his career, I was kind of surprised, honestly, that it wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. So his batting average obviously was the biggest dip off. He was he's a career 296 hitter, and he hit 266 this year. That's not good. But his RBIs were on pace with every other season he's ever had, minus last year when he got over 100 with the Dodgers. His home run total was the second highest of his career. His stolen bases were high, and he did have that streak of, 32 or 33
going back
in
to
a
2022.
row. His batting average was the biggest drop-off. His slugging percentage stayed around the same. His OPS was a little lower, and his walks were on par with the rest of his career. So because he wasn't that far off a lot of major offensive categories, I kind of upped him to that B instead of the B- I thought I was going to give him. Fair or not fair, that's what it was. Tyler, you're the tiebreaker here. Yeah. Where are you at on Trey Turner?
Your brother, Trey.
Can we admit?
Your doppelganger.
I don't see it.
I mean, it's a chin strap. All you guys have chin straps. Yeah.
But I don't see it. So
Tyler looks like Trey. And your names are both T. But go ahead, I'm sorry.
Can we admit that two things can be true at once? Are we allowed to do that?
Depending on where you're going with it.
Depending on the two things. Is that how this industry works?
It can't be hot and cold at the same time.
The two things that can be true at once is I believe that this was Trey Turner's worst professional season as a Major League Baseball player. I also believe that the Trey Turner that you saw in that post-August, whatever it was, with the standing ovation, is the Trey Turner you're probably going to get.
My idea? Yeah.
Yes. Is the Trey Turner you're probably going to get more of next season. Like, he wasn't good this year. It was like you talked about, one of the lowest averages of his career. The 26 home runs, the 76 RBIs, the 30 stolen bases is product primarily of the post-August 1st stats. And that's what gives me excitement about Trey Turner heading into next year.
I can't hold that against him that he got it together. You know what I mean?
Right. So my point is, I think that this was it was objectively his worst season at least since his rookie year.
I guess. But, I was shocked looking at his stat sheet compared to other seasons. I expected him to be off in almost every major category, and it was really just batting average and OPS and, one other that there were fall-offs. His production ended up being there because he got hot.
Sure.
And I think that's why, people are optimistic about, the coming years. I think the defense will get better. That's why I justified my B, but you guys are completely right.
Yeah, and the one thing that drives me absolutely insane is routine butchered balls, and when you have 102 errors in your career and 23 of them come this season, it doesn't bode well for me.
Yeah,
that's not good.
Well, the other thing that I take a look at, I know stats obviously are very important, especially as we're talking through
somebody
everything.
I know would say stats lie. They don't tell the whole story.
They're not telling the whole story because it's also the timing of those errors, the timing of those plays. When you look at the situations in which Trey really was not good, it's the worst timing. We all saw after the August ovation how Trey definitely was much better. But also, he started off rough, improved with the ovation, gets into the postseason, and was just very inconsistent.
But if he doesn't turn the corner, the Phillies don't surge to the playoffs and beat the Braves.
Which is why he's still in the B category. But
yeah, that's fair.
Yeah,
I'm not arguing
but I
you're
think
great. I think
absolutely.
It's fair. But I'm just saying,
for him,
he did. By becoming the player we all expected, he changed the season.
He did change his season.
So
but he also
I gave him a little more
in
credit
a lot
for
of
that.
areas of the season, especially when you look at the error that he had. What was that? I don't remember even which game it was because it's all a blur at this point. But Trey Turner had some pivotal mistakes at the wrong time.
Yeah.
So,
all
yes. We're moving on, though, because there's another guy that had some. Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Tyler.
Quick, if you guys, I apologize to interrupt you. My grade, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
We forgot that.
A C.
A C.
Not even a C plus.
So you're Mrs. Turnbuckle.
It's Trunch Bowl. Tyler.
Mr. Tabernacle.
Tyler gave his
Swami swimming.
You are supposed to be tougher on your own family. So Tyler gave his brother Trey a C, not even a C plus. You're saying a solid 75.
Yeah, it was an average season. That was propelled by
C's get degrees, but I never. Wow. All
right, let's get to the hot corner. Let's see if there's any hot takes on the hot corner.
Let's keep with the C's. Right. Alec with a C.
Who wants to lead it off?
I'll let you go first, Tyler, because I feel like you after that C for Trey. Let's see what you got for Bohm.
Much more favorable season for Alec Bohm. I think the big reason as to why Alec Bohm was going to get the grade that he does was the defensive improvement.
Yeah, it's shocking.
He was a butcher his first 2+ seasons. Last year he was okay. This year
I bleep and hate it here.
He was substantially better. And not only that, but he was substantially better despite the fact that he had to split time between playing both sides of the infield, playing 80 games at first and 59 games at third with the Harper not being back and Rhys Hoskins being hurt all year. He dropped his errors from 13 to 9. Now, of course, the downside is you can see at the bottom of that graphic, he did have a league high, say that again, a league high 23 grounded into double plays. I mean, he was a double play magnet
sadly
this year. But the pop was there, 20 home runs, drove in almost 100, hit 275. Like, I'm a huge proponent of if you get an everyday major league player out of your first round pick at any capacity in their career, it's a good pick because of how fluid and situational Major League Baseball draft has become. This guy's better than an everyday player at this point.
Oh, yeah.
Probably his best year to date. I give Alec Bohm a B. I thought he was really good this year.
Okay.
Wow.
I'll go next here. I'm not far off. I gave him a B+, because the defense took the strides that it did. Every major offensive category, as Tyler just went through, rose. And the fact that he got around 100 RBIs with 97 on the year, I'll gladly take the slight dip in batting average there. But Alec Bohm really impressed me this year. He led the team with hitting with runners in scoring position. So to me, I kind of view that double play thing almost as a trade-off with the runners in scoring position average. Hopefully he can improve on that double play thing. But I think a solid B+. And Renee, as we hand it over to you, I'd love to know what, Neil and Barbara and Christy and MBD and Mickey and all, because Bohm to me is an interesting one. I think he's become far better than I expected. I agree with you, Mickey. He needs more pop. I just don't know if you're going to get that, and you might have to come to terms with that. But Renee, what do you have for a grade?
So I'm going to start off and say I actually agree with you guys on this one. I'm not being harsh here. I gave Bohm a B. B for Bohm. Because I think that when you look at last year in terms of the I bleeping hate it here to now, Alec Bohm has made great strides. And when you talk about needing more pop, you talk about like what his ceiling is. I think this is the ceiling for Alec Bohm. I feel like the reasons why he has struggled is because he's in a position in that 4-hole where he shouldn't be. And that's not fully on him. I don't think he should be batting after Bryce. So I think it's more about the situations he's been put in have set him up to be less successful than what he could be. But even to have a game 7 like he did after not going, having a really rough NLCS to then hit a homer, Bohm he should be just your true role player. Like, he's the guy that you expect to just kind of help in the middle. You don't need him to win games for you, but she's not losing games for you. He's just steady. He's consistent. And once he gets out of the 4-hole, which hopefully will happen next season, I think that's where Bohm's going to be at his best. But I do feel like the growth he's made, the progress, looking at last season and this season, looking at the fact he did play multiple positions and still did well in first base to third base. Yeah, Bohm is a solid B. Solid B for sure.
Everybody's kind of in that same range.
We're finally all in agreement.
As Miss Honey or Mrs. Honey, whoever, probably gave him the B+ because the defense was such a leap from what we saw last year. I erred on the side of positivity there, but we're all pretty much in the same general ballpark. All right, now we'll get to the man behind the dish. Many call him the best catcher in baseball. Do not think he was the best catcher in baseball this year, but he's certainly a top 5 catcher in baseball pretty much consistently. JT Real Muto. I give him a B. He was pretty much down in every major category: RBIs, batting average, OBP, OPS, slugging. His home runs stayed similar. I didn't think he called the best game with the bullpen in the playoffs. I just think it was a down year for JT, so I went B because his bad is still better than most. And he also got ran on a little too much in the playoffs for my liking. I don't know why he couldn't get off his knees to throw people out there, but minor gripe, but I think a B. What do you say, Renee?
Well, I think that one thing about JT is the fact that I feel like he gives you what you expect. Much like what Bohm is molding into be for the Phillies, I think JT's in that same category on the offensive side of just being, every once in a while he'll give you a hit, every once in a while he'll drive runners in. He's solid, and for that, I gave JT a B. Also,
look at us.
I know we're on the same path again.
Look at us.
I know.
Who would have thought?
2 B's in a pod.
Yeah, Mrs. Turnbuckle and Mrs. Honey.
But
all
I think that unfortunately for JT, as you talk about, it's the same issues. It's the inability to get the ball to second. It's the inability to pop and quickly get up. It's the inability to call. When you're looking at his pitch calling, not great. But yeah, I think that for JT, there were absolutely some moments as a catcher that were painful. I agree with you on that, Christy. There were some painful moments, but overall, like a solid B. He's just steady offensive. I don't know that you expect too much from him. He gave you enough where I'm not going to say he was anything higher than that.
But he dropped in
solid.
most. Yeah.
All right, Tyler, what you got?
You guys want to make it 3 for 3?
No way.
I'm going to go B as well.
Oh, look at us.
I think JT definitely
Spider-Man meme.
Had a little bit of a down dip year. And guys, if we're being honest with ourselves, the JT Realmuto that you got in the first couple of seasons as a Philly probably doesn't exist anymore. I think he's just
that's probably fair.
Age is starting to catch up to him. And you bring up he may not have been the best catcher in baseball this year. He's definitively not going to be the best catcher in baseball heading into 2024. That I think firmly belongs to Adley Rutschman at this point. The kid is disgustingly good.
Yeah, he's really good.
Yeah.
But you look at the numbers, and they weren't terrible for JT this year. It did hit 20 home runs. 252 is a little low. The strikeout numbers were high. It was a career high in strikeouts for him this season, and the RBI number was down. But I think that's more of default of the players around him to an extent, with runners in scoring position and things like that. But you talk about his defensive numbers, they're still strong. He's 8th in runners thrown out at second base. He led all Major League Baseball in pop time once again. I don't think the JT that we're going to get moving forward is the guy that we had seen over the first 3 years of his career here. But I still do believe that he is a serviceable catcher, especially at a position that is really kind of devoid of talent. Like if you look around the league, there's still, even with a 80% JT, there's still probably only 4 or 5 catchers I would take over him.
And catcher's a weird position. I play a lot of fantasy baseball, and if you don't get a catcher, you're pretty much screwed.
Yeah, he did lead the league in putouts and was top 5 in double plays. I mean, there were things that just 2 errors on the season. There were things that you saw from JT that, as you talk about, it was a sign of, okay, there is a drop off. He is getting older. He is maybe on the decline, but still a top catcher. And so I agree. I love that we're all on the same page with JT. And another spot you can be on the same page, that's with FOCO, because FOCO allows you to rock some great gear, be on the same page as your favorite athletes, your favorite teams, wearing their shirts, their overalls. You can buy the memorabilia that you want to hang up on your wall or have at your desk. You can rock these overalls that Jamie is wonderfully modeling.
I haven't taken off yet.
Friendship bracelets he's also modeling because Jamie's a model as well, if you didn't know. So head over to FOCO, use that code PHLY, get 10% off. They've got great prices, great products, and it will look great on you as well. That you can go out to the ballpark, the arena, the rink, wherever you're headed, and be rocking your favorite teams, because things are definitely getting interesting around Philly. I know, Martian, you're talking about the Harden trade. Obviously, Eugene Krabs, you're talking about the
NFL
Eagles being among
day.
2 top contenders, and it is NFL trade deadline.
Daryl Morey stealing all the shine.
The Flyers are winning, so go support Philly sports teams. The Union won the first playoff game. It's a fun time in Philly right now.
And we're coming out of the depression. See, we're getting there. These are the stages.
I was gonna say it's like stage 4 of grief.
Yeah, we're getting there. We're inching closer.
Slowly but surely.
And a guy that's helping me with that is Tyrese Maxey. Gets named the Eastern Conference Player of the Week. I've loved this kid ever since he came out of Kentucky, and he continues to get better when I didn't think he could. Not all things are bad right now, and you should check out the PHLY Sixers reaction this morning to the big James Harden trade. So check that out. The guys did a great job this morning.
We're not talking about that right now. Eugene Krabs. Not all things are going well in Philly. Of course, it's Philly, so we can't have everything perfect. Right. But let's get back to some other things that are
let's buzz through these backup players so I can complain about the umpiring in baseball.
Oh, boy.
Let's start with Edmundo Sosa. I don't have a lot to say about him. To me, he is about as average a major league journeyman infielder as you can get. I gave him a C+. For a bench player, that doesn't bother me. You'd love a guy in the B+ range, but he gives you some versatility defensively. His bat's just meh. C+. That's all I got.
As the backup for Trey, essentially. I think Edmundo is. I think I gave him, what did I even write down? A C also. I mean,
same
just
area.
super average, not, nothing special. I don't even know that there needs to be much of a.
Barbara Carroll gives him an E. For error. Got his ass. Tyler, what do you got for Edmundo?
Yeah, I think I'm going to give Edmundo Sosa more credit than you guys are because of the fact that I think we saw him start to crack because of overusage this year.
Wow, he even made a Sosa graphic.
He's played the most. It was the most career game, or the second most career starts that he's made in his actually longer Major League Baseball career than I thought. But he had to play 65 games or start 65 games at third because of the fact that Alec Boehm was playing a lot of first early in the year. But look at those numbers. I mean, it's a career high in plate appearances and at bats, which is because of the career high in numbers. It's also, or second most in those categories, and then the most in most career doubles, home runs, RBIs, and strikeouts. And again, that's because it's a player that probably got overutilized more than he needed to be over the course of the season. I think Edmundo Sosa is a really valuable bench piece to have because
he can
he can play multiple positions. He could play short. He could play third. He could probably get away with playing a little second. They tried him in the outfield a little bit. I wouldn't recommend it, but it's something that he could potentially do. I think this guy is a better bench piece than a lot of teams have, and he would be an upgrade over many bench pieces across the league.
That's kind of why I was thinking C2.
I'm giving him a B-.
If I was drinking beers with you at the bar, you could sway me into the B- category.
Well, as you mentioned, I mean, this is exactly his role on the team, and he does it well. You know, obviously there are things that you see from Edmundo that aren't as great, but you don't. He's truly a bench player. Like, he's a fill-in piece where needed.
Nice bench piece,
he's versatile. He gives you some good at-bats if you need. You know, he's just steady. So definitely a C. Mickey Durkin, I'm surprised at you with that comment, by the way. Don't think we're going to let you slide on that. Thank you, MBD, for calling him out.
His D is better than average, Mickey. I would agree. Talking about defense, Renee.
I know what he's talking about, but you don't
Somebody
do
said
that.
he's 2023 Tomas Perez. That's great. That's enough time on.
If that's the case, isn't that a good thing?
Yeah. I mean, all right, that's a lot of time on Edmundo. So let's get through these guys. Garrett Stubbs, F. Next.
Wow, I was actually really surprised that you did that, Miss Honey.
It's all because of his comments. If I was talking about a backup catcher, I probably would have given him a B-, C+. He's fine. It's whatever. He's the vibes officer. Teammates love him. But he opened his mouth at the worst possible time and gave the opposition some bulletin board material. F. What do you got?
Wow, Miss Honey grading solely on a comment.
Yep. It changed the season.
Everything else just thrown out the window. I gave Garrett Stubbs a D.
Okay.
Garrett Stubbs doesn't really give you much outside of
the vibes,
the clubhouse.
Yeah.
And I think for a backup catcher, sure, but like, what are we getting from you, Garrett, besides overalls and fantastic playlists? So, I mean, his stats there's literally nothing to really read.
No.
He did have a home run, though. He did finally get
Garrett Stubbs graphic.
He did finally get a home run, 12 RBIs, but I'm as Tyler's talking about, strictly a vibes guy, Tyler. Where's he at in your greeting?
So I think that again, the catcher position's so thin that it's probably graded on a worse scale. But the one thing that really stood out to me is that third line. Now it's a small sample size. He only made 18 made 18 throws to second base, threw out a smaller number than that. But if you take a minimum of 15 throws, he is third in Major League Baseball in pop time to second base and only 0.03 seconds behind the number one catcher in baseball, which is still to this day JT Realmuto. So I think that you need an upgrade at the catcher position, the backup catcher position for next year because of that.
I don't think they're going to.
That mounting number of games that JT has played. But I agree with you. I think it's going to be Garrett Stubbs again. He's under team control.
Alex Coffey has said
I give him a D, but it doesn't matter to me.
Yeah. Alex Coffey has said that players in that locker room would revolt if he's not there. And I think for that reason alone, the vibes, he's going to be back.
That's the thing. I mean, as we say, he's not relevant enough to give a grade to. It's because he's not on the team for what he does on the field. I mean, he's literally on the team for what he does in the clubhouse. And the dance moves pay off in terms of being able to have that pop to throw to second base, clearly, because we can see him dropping it like it's hot left and right. But I think he really is a glue guy. And unfortunately, you'd love for the glue guy to be someone that can give you a little bit more productivity. But for now, those are the types of guys that teams do rally around. So if he's going to be the guy that they're going to keep because he's the locker room clubhouse guy, then he does need to give more than that because, But Dustin is saying also an F because he gave the Diamondbacks bulletin board material.
Yeah.
You guys are agreeing with us. So, yeah, absolutely.
You failed
Christy's
the team at the
being
most
nice and
important
saying
time
a D+.
of the year. Yeah. F.
All right, let's move along.
The other two are pretty close to irrelevant, but we'll give them a grade. Cody Clemens ended up playing 49 games this year. I don't know, like C-. Pretty irrelevant. I think he did an okay job at times, alternating with Bohm there in the beginning of the year. I don't think he's going to be anything. He came up and was just fine.
Yeah, I mean, I gave Clemens a D if we were going to grade him.
Yeah,
another
brought
person
Roger to the park. That was cool.
I was going to say another person that's relevant. Did well in AAA and can stay there. So, that demotion was well deserved, and that's why it was deserved for capital D.
He was fine.
Probably could be a D-, but I think again, 49 games. I don't know.
Who cares?
Who cares?
Don't care.
Don't care. All right, and then the final one, Rodolfo Castro.
By the way, you're not getting graphics for these two.
No, there's no graphics.
No.
You don't want a graphic of the fact that Clemens had 4 homers in his 47 games. We don't want that.
Christy said he said nepotism, baby. You're not wrong.
That's super accurate, actually. That's probably what the graphic would be, him and Roger.
And the last one is Rodolfo Castro. What an absolute waste of time. What a failure of a trade. I don't know what they were thinking. F.
I mean, the swing from bringing him in August to being out in late September was like...
Nah, we're done.
Yeah, I gave him an F also. I mean, there's clearly a reason why
You fail, sir.
Here's the thing. If you're going to make a bad trade in any capacity, if it's bad player for bad player, I will always rather have the bad pitcher than the bad utility infielder. Bailey Falter stunk. So did Rodolfo Castro. F.
Yeah.
All right. I'm glad we all agree on that. So a couple things I wanted to get to now that the grades are wrapped up, and maybe we'll cap or no cap, Renee, those grades tomorrow and see. Did I do it right? Was I cool?
I think if you do it without the cap or no cap,
I can't.
Like you had a little jingle in it because you are purposely making it fake and having fun with it.
Because I know I can't say it.
No, I think you could if you just go on and say it with some gumption.
Yo, that's cap.
No, you don't need to add yo. I didn't say all that.
Yo.
Wait, why did you switch into a deeper, harsher? You can just say that's cap.
Sound cool.
That's cap.
Yeah.
Just that's cap. Let me hear you say it. That's cap.
That's cap. All right, today's an anniversary in town.
Do you know what today is?
And I don't want...
It's an anniversary.
I don't want to...
You don't know that
I know
song.
you guys are going to have a totally different experience. No, I don't know what that's from.
Tony Tone. Anniversary.
Tony Tone. What?
It's a great black R&B group from I want to say the late 80s, early 90s maybe. It's before me. But anyways, great song. Highly recommend it for your wedding anniversary next year because you have a little less than a year now to plan since it just passed that you can now have some Tony Tone.
Ooh, Vince walking in with some pizza.
Does anybody
pies
know Tony Tone?
No.
Yeah, that made me hungry. That's the bomb.
Yeah, I know that. I haven't eaten really much today because it was Halloween parade day at school. But Halloween parades, you say? It is the anniversary in 2008 of the Phillies parade, which seems like so long ago. Jamie should have a dunce cap on and said to make the Stubbs costume more authentic. Plog.
Go put him in the corner. Oh, Christy knows Tony Tone.
Plog's name sounds like a bowel movement.
Oh, and I'm getting compliments.
Oh, you're
Jodeci. I love Jodeci. We should have a whole episode where we just sing Jamie.
I'm pretty sure Walter Cronkite never listened to Wu-Tang. All right, there.
Is that your claim to being cool?
No, but Walter Cronkite was as stale as a piece of cardboard, most likely.
I got Jodeci coming in the bag, guys. Don't worry.
Yeah,
no cap.
Walter Cronkite's not going to Run the Jewels concerts. You know what I mean? I'm cool. No cap.
There we go.
Yeah, I did it. Anyway, this day, 2008. I was taking the SEPTA Regional Rail in from Roxborough and Manayunk to Center City and transferring, and I walked down Broad Street with a backpack full of beers, my Ryan Howard jersey on. I ended up in the stadium for the Chase Utley speech, and it was honestly one of the best and most joyous days of my sports fandom life because I never thought I would see a title in this town. And 2008 really kind of changed everything for me. I think it made me a more optimistic sports fan. I love that team, Utley, Rollins, and Howard, some of my favorite players ever. Cole Hamels was ridiculous that year. I don't want to ask where you two were that day because it was probably like in diapers or in grade school or something.
I mean,
I was at the parade.
Okay.
Like, how old
were
do you
you?
think
I had
we
to skip
are?
high school to go, but
Yeah, like, how old do you think we are that we were in
I figured
diapers
you were in
15
high
years
school.
ago?
I figured you were in high school.
Yeah, I was in high school. Okay,
So
2008
to
was
walk us through your day, because mine was obviously probably a little different.
Yeah, I wasn't legally allowed to walk around carrying beer. I was 16 years old, so high school me was walking through the halls, excited. Actually, what was crazy was during this time, I was going through the recruiting process for college soccer. And as you may or may not know, I played soccer at LaSalle University here in Philly. And part of the reason why I was excited
Shout
to go
out
to
Ollie.
LaSalle is because I remember being on campus visiting, right? I mean, obviously it was a year after, but in that time, it was still very electric in Philly. A lot of people still had the 2008 banners and stuff. And I was like, ooh, I'm going to go to college in a city where they win championships. And so being from Jersey and making the whole switch to Philly, woohoo. I remember just from, honestly, for that reason of being excited with my friends that, like, not only did the Phillies win, but I might go to school in Philly and I'll be near the champions.
Yeah, it changed everything. Tyler,
Such a
what was
teenage
your
mindset, right?
So my dad pulled me out of school.
Good father, good fathering right there.
So the only exception, my brother's not a sports fan at all. So the only reason sometimes it's a better life, I think. We don't have to.
I agree.
Yeah, as a sports family, I agree with that.
The only justification that was allowing me to get out of school would be that my brother was also, he's younger than me, he was grade school. My brother was also allowed to go. So me, my dad, my brother, a couple of friends and their parents, we all piled into the SEPTA, Trenton line passed us like 12 times. Just gone.
The trains were really full that day.
And
It was a pain in the ass.
finally got down there and had ourselves a day.
Yeah,
Wow.
what a great day that was.
I love that. It's crazy. It was 15 years ago. And what
Leaping
makes it better
champions.
is I know John Foley, who we had on the show earlier this week. Last week? When was John on the show?
Last week.
Oh, wow. That was last week.
Friday.
Oh, it's only Tuesday. That's right.
Yeah.
It feels like a Friday. But anyways, it's only Tuesday. Oops. John Foley was on the show last week and had a post coming out about this and reshared a post from 2017 that he had pulled numbers from. The popularity of the baby named Chase, because obviously Chase Utley was huge at that time, and everybody, much in all sports trends, is always naming their kids after champs. Yes, I'm a Hall of Fame soccer player, Eugene Krabs. I played professionally. There you go. Google me. That's what I tell people. But John Foley pulled numbers and found... Yeah, you can Google me. Seriously, Renee Washington, soccer. There I am. So John Foley pulled numbers.
We used to work with.
Huh?
So somebody else that we used to work with.
Yeah.
That was one of his famous lines.
Oh my gosh, Google me. I will not say that again then. So in 2001, the name Chase was 77th in Pennsylvania, 79th in the USA. In 2009, it spiked and became the 9th most popular name in Pennsylvania and 61st in USA. 9th in Pennsylvania. 9! That's wild, but it makes sense. Wow, you're really Googling me. Jamie's currently looking me up. Barbara, that is why I know soccer so well. I'm a former professional athlete, and I was a 3-time All-American. And I was an academic All-American because grades do matter. Booyah.
And look at us. We're all here in this room together.
Yep, and here we are together. But yes, what a great day that was 15 years ago. Just wanted to bring that up on the anniversary because one of the best days of Philly fandom ever.
Well, it's tough now because we're watching the World Series play out. We're thinking about the 15-year anniversary of the parade, and the Phillies are not there right now. So
last night, and look, if I was in that stupid Humidor ballpark in Phoenix, I would have used the Game Time app to get tickets. And you too can use the Game Time app using code PHLY for $20 off your first purchase. I used it for a concert last week with my wife. I'm going to be using it again this weekend to go see a comedy show. That's because Game Time has got you covered. Sports, concerts, music, theater, whatever you want to do, buying your tickets for your favorite events should not be stressful. Game Time is fast and easy place for you to buy tickets for anything you want with killer last-minute deals on the best prices guarantee. You can stop stressing over the tickets and start getting hyped for the fun you're going to have. They have flash deals and last-minute tickets. It's easy to find and buy every event in your area. My favorite part, the image of the seat views so you know exactly what you're getting. Game Time is the place for last-minute tickets. It's the fastest-growing ticketing app in the country for a reason, because people like me and you are realizing this is the place to be for tickets. I love the seat image views before you buy. Especially I'm going to the Met this weekend. It's good at a comedy show to kind of know your angle, where you're at. Is there any blockage? All that good stuff. Matter of seconds. 2 taps and you're set. Buy tickets in a matter of seconds. Snag the tickets without the stress with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code PHLY for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code PHLY for $20 off. So if I was in Phoenix in that stupid, ugly ballpark that they have, I would have used Game Time. But last night was the first time I was able to turn on the World Series. Games 1 and 2 I had no interest in. I followed the box scores. I paid attention to the game, obviously, and stupid Merrill Kelly in Game 2. He really annoys me. But last night was Scherzer versus that stupid Brandon Pfaadt. And I just knew, like, before the game, I should have bet the Rangers. I didn't, but I just knew that Pfaadt was not going to be as good as he was against the Phillies because his control over his changeup last night was nowhere near as good as it was versus the Phillies. It doesn't help that the Phillies chased every single thing out of the zone. Scherzer left with a back issue in the middle of the game. Garcia left with an abdominal side issue as well. So a couple big injuries there. The Rangers went up 2-1, but it was the first time I was able to tune in, and I hated every second of it, Renee. I watched it, and I understand, people not watching it. I totally get that. I just felt like as though I needed to tune in to know how much hate was inside me. Like it was almost like they do the heat check in basketball. This was almost like a hate check of like I needed to see how high the levels would rise. Oh, and they rose. I had a bad time.
Yeah, honestly, I'm with MBDBDBF there. It's like watching your ex on the red carpet with Jason Momoa. I mean, you guys are saying you haven't watched the pitch, you're broken. Listen, you might call me petty, savage, whatever, heartless, and these because of my responses in the past episodes, but it's the same here. It applies. I'm not going to act like I'm excited to see the Rangers and the Diamondbacks in the World Series and watch. You're not getting my view, but I have unfortunately been getting all the notifications and watching the updates on my phone. I just wish Texas would beat Arizona harder than they are. And to see a 9-1 Arizona winning Game 2 irked me to my soul. But I'm looking like I want to be able to ha-ha them. Like, oh, you're, just like how we said the Phillies World Series was the Braves. I want them to have that same response and have just an awful series, and then we can all sit up and say, well, you did all that against the Phillies and then shit the bed. So no, I haven't been able to watch. I'd rather watch my Hallmark movies peacefully than sit and watch. I don't want to see Pfaadt anymore. I don't want to see Corbin Carroll running the bases. I don't want to see Ketel Marte continuing to make records with his postseason hits and hitting streak. It's cool, sure. Happy for you, not happy for you. So yeah, without a doubt, not happy about that. But what I am happy about is Hero Bread, because Hero Bread is a place that you can go
starving.
to.
I'm going to go eat
well,
some.
I'm really hungry too. Yeah. So let's wrap this thing up. And let me tell you about Hero Bread. Nutritious, delicious, and good for you. And Hero Bread right now is offering the PHLY fam 10% off their first order. You can go to hero.co. So there's no M. Hero.co, use our code PHLY, save on Hero Bread today, and get that 10% off. It's tastes good, soft, fluffy bread, wraps, tortillas, so now you can have any meal of the day and be able to check out Hero Bread, because they now can provide you with breakfast sandwiches, lunch wraps, dinner rolls, whatever it is you're looking to buy. Delicious, nice, meaty, hearty, savory tasting sandwiches, high fiber, ultra low net carbs, 0 gram sugar per slice. And again, use that code PHLY to go sink your teeth into some delicious Hero Bread.
Well, that's what I'm going to do.
Salivating at the thought of some yummy sandwiches right now.
Tomorrow, I am going to complain about the umpires. I think this is a big problem for baseball. There was an example in last night's game.
Oh, yeah.
In the bottom of the 9th inning. I just think they need to correct it. And we'll get into that tomorrow. We're going to be back tomorrow at 12:30 again. I believe we are moving on to the bullpen and the grades for the bullpen. Very curious to see where Mrs. Turnbuckle
that is not my name.
Goes with Craig Kimbrell. And see how hard she is when it comes to grading Kimbrell. Me, Mrs. Honey, I will continue to dole out what I think is fair. But
also, we have a great guest coming on tomorrow, too. We'll have a guest with us in the studio. Phil Knappin's going to be joining us from Filthy and Phil's on Instagram, and they do a great job with all their content. So Phil's going to be able to weigh in, and we'll see if he can help. Maybe we'll be split now in 2 and 2 between the three of us and Phil of some of these grades.
Yeah,
because right now,
you gave him his homework assignment, right? He's going to be here with us grading.
He's going to be able to match Miss Honey over here and me.
Yeah.
So, yes, glad you guys have enjoyed it. Glad you guys have had this opportunity to get some good therapy.
Yeah.
We're happy to be therapeutic for you.
Yeah, and happy Halloween to everybody.
Yes.
Spiral out, Eugene Krabs, Mickey, Barbara, Christy, everybody I've seen in here today. Thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate you. We love you. This is a Phillies community, and we're going to get through this together as we close out
all in this together.
The 2023 season this week, giving out the grades, and then we move forward and look to the future. So for Tyler, for Renee and her jingles and her bunny ears, and me dressed as the guy that I hate because he opened his mouth.
Two
I'm
separate
Jamie
responses
Lynch.
right now.
Yeah.
See ya.
Have a great Halloween, everyone. We'll see you tomorrow.
We all silly like the mayor.